Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Arizona Fitness Biography. Today, from beautiful Prescott, Arizona, this guy has done it all in the fitness industry. 410 bench press, 562 squat, 672 deadlift, 184 straight bicep curl, over 10 first places in both powerlifting and bodybuilding, MuscleMania Pro, INBA Pro, and hopefully soon to be an IFBB Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Josh Connor. Josh, welcome to Arizona Fitness Biography. Thanks for having me here at Champions Gym. Have a seat.
All right.
We're gonna keep it simple. This is about the athlete, who they are, their personal history. I'll leave it open for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Prescott, Arizona. Lived here pretty much my whole life, and here at Champions Gym, this is pretty much where I started my career as a bodybuilder and as a power lifter, athlete, the whole 9 yards. I learned a lot from
So
these
here in
roots.
Prescott, Arizona, how can people find this place, just in case they're looking for it?
Easiest way to say it is it's off the 89, the FA connector, going up to the casino. That is the best route to go because then you'll see a giant warehouse that says gym off Kijidaba Drive.
All right, so tell me about your family, your childhood, your upbringing, brothers, sisters. Tell us about your childhood.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say my family are absolutely phenomenal. Love my family to death. My parents brought us here, or at least brought me here when I was 1. I think my sister was 3 at the time, and opened up a business. And then
From where?
from California,
Boy, California.
Long Beach, California,
And why do you guys move here?
to get away from gang violence, basically.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So my parents growing up here, or they were in California at the time, they just decided they didn't want their kids growing up in that kind of environment. Plus, my dad had a good business opportunity here.
And what kind of business was that?
General store,
General store.
which you don't really see a whole lot of anymore.
Okay, so you guys moved here. You were 1. Your sister was 3. What's your sister's name? What's your mom and dad's name?
My sister's name is Adrian Connor. My mom and dad, David Connor and Mary Connor.
All right. So what year was that?
Oh, 1982.
1982. You moved from Long Beach to Prescott from a convenience store,
Willow Creek Market.
Will Creek Market. So tell me about your childhood, how you grew up, where you go to school, and when is your earliest recollection of you getting involved with sports?
Okay, yeah, well, pretty much from the time I learned how to run, my parents put me in sports. So growing up here was beautiful. I mean, it was a small town, very safe kind of town. You could ride your bike down, and you wouldn't have to worry about anything, getting hit by cars and whatnot. Just we had 1-lane roads everywhere. So getting into sports, my parents put me in soccer when I was about 5.
Okay.
First team called the Terminators. And I just realized that I just really had an affinity for sports.
And was that in school?
No, just City League.
City League.
Yeah, City League.
So where do you go to school when you started going to school here?
At the time, it was Taylor Hicks.
Taylor Hicks.
And they had kindergarten K through 5, basically.
Okay, so
yeah.
Do you play any sports during that time?
Just soccer mainly. And then there was a couple years where I tried baseball. I wasn't very good. I tried some basketball later. But mainly just soccer at that point.
Tell us about the memories of your childhood in that school. What is it that you remember that was the most significant to you as a person, as a human, as an athlete, as a student?
It was a good environment to grow up in. I mean, obviously, all kids, they have a little bit of bullying. I was bullied a little bit because I was the chunkier kid, believe it or not.
Okay.
So yeah, it just kind of, eventually wears on you, and eventually you'll do something about it. So, but there was really no hostility. It's just kids teasing kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from that school, where do you go after that?
So after that was Granite Mountain Middle School. And from there, that's when I started getting into, a lot of martial arts. Actually, I started martial arts in 5th grade.
What particular discipline?
Shotokan karate.
Okay.
Started with Shotokan karate. I loved it. I did it for a while, and then got into football, and then wrestling.
Okay, so that was 5th grade through.
Football and wrestling didn't start till 7th grade, and 7th grade was my first year of wrestling because I remember just getting my butt kicked left and right.
You told me in our previous interview, because I have to mention that we did this at Muscletopia earlier this month, We have some technical difficulties, so that's why I didn't miss the opportunity to drive here, get to know Champions Gym, and get to interview you in your home where you feel the most comfortable. You told me about wrestling and your humbling experience about it. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so like every kid, you don't understand what wrestling really is unless you've actually watched it. So I joined wrestling thinking it was going to be like the WWE, not really even understanding how this goes. So I get in there and you learn all the rules. And I mean, literally, I think I had 2 wins my entire 7th grade year.
And how many fights? How many?
Oh, there was, oh man, 20 matches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was a humbling experience for sure. But the following year, I started developing a lot more. Plus, I was getting really into bodybuilding at that point.
Tell me about that.
Well, it just it was kind of a turn of events. I think just it took one person to say one more thing to me about my weight and my look that I just kind of snapped.
Well, let's make a parenthesis here. So you believe that the joking, the picking on you, the bullying because you're a little chunky is where the genesis of your desire to get into weightlifting was born?
Yeah, I think it was always there. Obviously, just growing up as a kid, you watch action flicks, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody's buff, everybody's ripped. You're like, yeah, one day I'll look like that.
You get to shoot people.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the epitome of macho, right? So, it just took one more comment, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start really doing something about this. And
can you remember that moment?
Oh yeah, it was just the moment was almost like a complete 180 in my brain. I just remember just a flip being switched on, like, yeah, it's time to do something about this.
So was it somebody that you know?
Yeah, I mean, he was a friend, and it's just I was the kind of guy, because I did so many sports, I didn't want to run any more than I had to. So
I see.
So I was the guy that was walking the mile. Not actually.
What did the guy specifically say to you?
Why don't you get your fat ass moving?
Oh my goodness! So you remember that? How old were you? Do you even remember what you were wearing that day?
Oh, just our normal gym clothes. So it was like blue shorts and a white T-shirt. And yeah, I just remember after that I just started running.
So are you still friends with that guy today?
Oh yeah.
You should thank him for that.
I know, right?
Look what has happened to you since that comment. You flip that switch, and to those watching there, I'm sure that everybody has their own trigger and reasons to do that. It goes to show that nobody wakes up saying, I'm so good at everything I do, I need to go to the gym. You have to look into your inadequacies in order for you to say, you know what? Let me exploit the way I feel into using this energy for something. So then you started going to the gym at what time? How old were you?
So it was that year. I remember I started going to the YMCA, and I remember my parents encouraging me, and they really wanted me to do the pursuit of what I wanted to do. My dad, at first I wanted to get on supplements, but my dad said just go to the gym for a while, let your body get older first, and then we'll start putting you on some like supplements, just amino acids and stuff.
Okay.
And so I think I just started off with like a basic protein powder, and it was just a mass gainer. I think.
All right.
Yeah, I started at the YMCA, just started doing my own thing, just reading books and whatnot, and just kind of intuitively lifted for a while.
What's your favorite book that you got the most from in bodybuilding?
Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia.
Oh man, everybody that I have interviewed has said the Arnold Encyclopedia. How many great ones were born just opening the pages. Such a great book.
Yep, and so it was super inspiring at the time. So
anybody that you met at the YMCA that was also instrumental as a mentor to you?
No, not really. The YMCA I was just kind of doing my own thing, to be honest, and kind of kept to myself.
Any other books that you read along the way?
Yeah, then starting the next year, oh gosh, what was the name of that guy? The EAS owner, Bill Phillips.
Bill Phillips, yeah.
Yeah, and I started reading his
Body
books
for Life
and his Encyclopedia of Supplements.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I started really researching a lot of things.
Review.
The Supplement Review,
yeah. I have a copy at home of the first Supplement Review.
Wow.
That came out in 1994.
Yes.
That's when that came out.
Yeah.
I have a copy at home.
I remember reading front to back. I remember taking notes. I remember just learning everything I could. And then, my parents really supported me on it, and they started buying me stuff for, mass gaining, getting bigger, getting stronger. And I remember it was like a 9-day difference between 7th grade to 8th grade.
Okay. So you went to the YMCA during the summer and break?
Actually, I just went after school. So because my mom would go drop me off, or my dad would go drop me off.
And then the summer break comes up, people don't see you for a while, and all of a sudden, the brand new Josh Connor shows up.
Well, it's funny. There's a big story that's way more significant than that, and it's hilarious the assumptions that were made. We'll say that later. But
I want to hear it right now.
All right. So sophomore year, I was still on the fence of what weight class I was going to wrestle in, because there's a part of me that want to stay lighter in the 154s. I was 154 pounds my freshman year. But there was a part of me, it's like, why would I stay lighter if I could get bigger and stronger and faster? And every research that I read said with weight gain, with muscle gain, comes strength and speed. And my coaches were like, well, we're afraid you're going to get a little slower. So I had that horrible injury, the knee.
Tell me about that.
So sophomore year, my family and I went through a pretty hard time. It was Thursday night. I remember I get a phone call that I had to rush over to the store. It was an emergency. Our house set on fire.
Wow.
And the whole thing almost burned down to the ground.
All the memories, all the belongings.
Yeah, a lot of things. Thankfully, didn't get ruined. A lot of pictures were still intact. But firefighters were great. They stopped it right away. But the whole upstairs, and it was a 2-story house, the whole upstairs was burned.
Wow. How old were you when that happened?
So I was 16.
16 years old.
Yeah.
So house burns down. And that happens. What happens later?
So next day,
yeah,
I got to go to a football game, Moon Valley High School, playing them. And there was a play specifically where I'm running down the field. I have the ball. I remember going to take a cut and then locking my knee out. And the moment I locked that knee out, a helmet went right into the kneecap.
Wow.
So hyperextended, literally all the tendons and ligaments that were making my knee hang on to. I was in so much pain that night, getting up the next day.
So it's a clean break.
Just about. Yeah, it was like literally everything's hanging on. So wake up in a strange hotel, because we had to stay at a hotel.
That was in Moon Valley, Phoenix.
Oh, no, that's when I came home.
Okay.
From Moon Valley, because we played in Moon Valley.
Okay.
And I just remember waking up in a strange hotel. Don't know where it is. It's called the Presbyterian. And it's kind of sad, but my parents weren't there. I think they were off the house getting stuff. And I remember having to literally crawl to the toilet to go to the bathroom. Because my knee was so swollen. Yeah.
Wait, was there a cast or was it surgery?
At the time, it was just there. There was nothing. They couldn't do anything about it.
Wow.
So we didn't get an actual diagnosis till, I think, like 4 days later.
But they didn't take you to the hospital or something?
No.
It was like...
Yeah, just like...
Write it out like
yeah, write it out. Yeah. This thing is like 3 times the size it should be. So, and then it was also that night, after that my dad's truck got broken into.
Wow. So back to back within 48 hours, house burns down. You have a tremendous injury, and your dad's truck gets broken into.
Yep.
Wow. What a moment in time. What a blip in the radar.
Yeah, it was a big moment. And then we finally got a diagnosis, and it was the Phoenix Suns doctor at the time. And he was great. He said, we don't have to do surgery, but we're gonna advise you for 3 months.
Okay.
So my leg was just in a straight splint for 3 months, and I was on crutches. But it was just it was a really hard time.
To explain to me how you process a 16-year-old person doing really well in sports, losing your belongings with a house fired, and the injury takes place, and you're trying to be a little man at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you were able to process all that adversity.
Well, it was hard. I just tried to focus on this place. This place was my sanctuary at the time. I was battling depression bad. So just doing this brought me back to life a lot.
So meaning coming to the gym.
Yes.
So how soon after the injury you went back to the gym?
Oh, that week.
The same week you're like, to hell with it.
Yeah, I'm just going to do upper body and look like this guy in a straight leg lock just pushing stuff. So
what did your parents think about that?
They were okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah, they still encouraged me to do it. But I just remember at that time I kind of had the epiphany that I need to just get bigger and stronger.
Yeah, bigger. So you kept going to the gym. How long from the moment the house burned down to you guys actually were able to return to a home?
It was a period of about 6 months.
6 months. So what were you living in a hotel.
Hotel suite. Again, the Presbyterian, they just put us in a suite center. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So through that process, how did you evolve from, okay, now I can't do anything with my legs? How do you do your splits? How do you work, coming to the gym every day?
I think I just, at the time, just did a little bit of everything every day. Like mainly just focusing on one primary, like chest, next day back, next day arms, next day shoulders. And just kind of just being here just helped me.
And were some of the most influential people through that process that you believe that they help you get through that, in addition to, of course, your parents and your sister?
Well, Clint Nancy Davis, or Clint passed away a little bit ago now, but they were idols to me. I just really looked up to them a lot. So
Yes.
they are as old school as they get when it comes to the bodybuilding world. I remember watching Clint and Nancy both drink tuna shakes when I was a kid. They were just nasty.
I did that.
You did it? Oh,
I did
God.
that. I did tuna shakes and chicken shakes.
Yeah, he did chicken shakes sometimes,
oh my
too.
goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to put that down. It doesn't matter. I remember right after the gym eating like 12 eggs, like Vince Gironda will suggest.
Yeah.
I remember before the gym, like, this is good for lifting, eating like a dozen bananas. Don't eat a dozen bananas right before a lift.
Oh, no.
But that's what we thought. That's what we do.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
desiccated liver. There are all kinds of products that were, all of them tasted nasty.
Yeah.
But the tuna shakes and the chicken breast shakes.
Yep, chicken breast shakes, and then on top of it, Clint helped me with my split and like how I should train, and just a lot of things, a lot of influences. Great mentor, and just seeing those two together was just admirable.
Question now: 3 months later, the leg is good to go. What happened? How did it feel to do legs for the first time after the injury?
Well, at the time, I was kind of still a major runner, so I remember just having this feeling of freedom. I just took off this vice, and I literally just started jogging, and then I just started running,
like a Forrest Gump.
Yeah, exactly. I just remember feeling the wind in my hair and just like running like crazy. I was just really excited.
All right. So when did you return back to wrestling and football and all that stuff?
So sophomore year, unfortunately, I had to take wrestling off. Freshman year, I was on the varsity team, got my ass handed to me, but that's okay. It was worth the experience. And then junior year, I came back for wrestling.
All the while, like coming to the gym also to build your body.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 16 comes about. Tell me about that story that you said in your sophomore year, you came back. Like, because we were talking about the transition between the fat kid to the fit kid.
So, like I said, I was like 154 pounds. I was teetering on the surface. And then all of a sudden, I start, phosphagen. I start.
Oh, there you go.
HMB. I start
That's
protein powders, like real good quality protein powders. So before I know it, I'm at 188 pounds.
Wow.
And everyone just assumed I was on steroids. Like, they just like, oh, what would you take to get? I'm like, I just did this. This is all I did. And I was still lifting weights. So I don't know what to tell you. It was like literally a 2-3 month transformation.
Oh, wow. Like all out.
All out.
Did you do the tuna shakes?
No, I stuck with the protein powders.
Yeah, by that time, by the mid-90s, the tuna shakes were not anymore something that a lot of people was doing anyway. So,
yeah.
So you're 188. You're now 17, almost 18 years old.
Yep.
You're playing football. How does it transition between a school sports and going to the gym into bodybuilding takes place?
Okay. So I kind of always knew I wanted to do bodybuilding. I always admired guys that got up there on stage with their physiques, and I always told myself one day I'll do that.
Such as who?
Well, I was old school, so I loved the golden era bodybuilders, Robbie Robinson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Frank Zane. Those are the guys I really looked at, because to me, they were the epitome of bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the classic symmetry, the lines, everything. So that's who my aspirations were. And, Sergio Olivia, that guy was a beast.
Have you had the opportunity to meet any one of them?
No, I wish I did. I only got to meet the new modern-day bodybuilders, and some of them were really nice.
Frank Zane is in Palm Springs. I think that you can make an appointment to see him.
Oh, wow. Right?
And Arnold, by all accounts, if you go early enough to Gold's Gym in Venice, you might run into him.
All right.
Robbie Robinson is probably still going to Gold's Gym in Venice.
As far as I know, he is.
It's not hard to meet him because that's one of the things that most of us think. We see them in magazines. We know that they're popular. Arnold is certainly a world-class sensation at everything he's done. But you'll be surprised how accessible these people are when you humbly approach them as an enthusiast of the sport. So it might not be too late for you.
Yeah, maybe not.
So who incentivized you to get on stage, and when did you prep for your first show?
Okay. So Clint always thought that I was, meant for bodybuilding, but he wasn't big on competing. He was what he liked to call bodybuilder for life.
Okay.
Yeah, so he had his bulk stage and he had his cut stage.
Okay.
And his cut stage, he looked like he could step on the stage at any time.
Beat everybody.
Exactly. But he didn't like the politics that came with bodybuilding.
Okay, naturally.
I thought that was fair. But Nancy was the one who wanted to push me to get on stage more than anybody. She's like, you got to get out there, you got to do it. And I said, okay, I will. And I kind of wanted to do it right out of high school.
Okay.
But I had to continue on my education, continue my scholarship, and go to AWC and play football.
Okay, so you got a scholarship for football, AWC. AWC is where?
Arizona Western Community College in Yuma, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that? How was that experience in your community college, in your college career as an athlete and as a student?
I hated the college, to tell you that, but I made some really good friends there.
Explain to me those years.
It was just it kind of felt like I didn't want to go in the first place, so I already kind of had this sour attitude on it. And then on top of it, you step outside the building, you're facing a hot air blow dryer, like it's 120 degrees just blowing in your face.
Nothing but produce.
Yeah.
Wilderness.
Yeah.
And desert and scorpions.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience for me. And growing up in a small town like this, there's not a lot of diversity. So coming to Arizona Western Community College, there was a lot of diversity. It was kind of a cultural shock.
Gotcha. So,
yeah.
What position do you play in football, by the way?
So I was fullback at the time.
Fullback. So you fullback the whole time, or growing up you played different positions and whatnot?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was high school. I was a linebacker and running back.
Okay.
I was more a tailback than a fullback at the time because I was a little more agile and fast.
Okay.
But then I got bigger. I was faster in a straight line.
Okay.
So that's how I went to fullback. And then when I went to my next college, I was actually the kicker for a while too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because my soccer years.
What college was that?
Bethany College.
Bethany College.
Kansas.
Where's in Kansas? So
yes.
You go from Prescott to Yuma to Kansas, and what happens in Kansas?
Kansas was actually really beautiful. I love Kansas, and I tell my fiance all the time that one day I'd like to take her there just to stay for a couple days so she can feel what I felt, which is just peace.
Okay.
It's just so peaceful there.
What did you go to school for? What do you major study?
So I wanted to go to school to try physical therapy. So then I ended up just studying their kinesiology, physiology program with all their electives and whatnot. And I loved it. I mean, I got straight A's across the board. Excellent.
So now Nancy talked you into competing.
Yes.
When did you compete for the first time? What was the show? What did you remember from it?
Okay. So I remember getting up to almost 252 pounds in college. Wow. I was a big boy.
How old were you?
Oh, I was 22 at the time.
Wow.
It's funny how when you pack on that much weight, you look older. I feel like I look older then than I do now. And then I remember spring finishing, and I finished track, and I said to myself, okay, it's time. And I just started doing cardio every night with jump rope, because all we had at the time. Sprints on the stadiums, and then we had a small weight room, but I made it work.
Was that in Kansas?
Yeah, in Kansas.
Okay.
It was literally the size of like a single car garage.
Okay.
And we just set up like power racks and stuff. So it was a pretty cool experience.
Jump rope and weight training and when does the show happen? Did it happen here in Arizona, Kansas?
Yeah, so it was the Miles Arizona Western was my first show.
Okay. And how did you do there?
So I look back and I got first place in the novice heavyweight. And I believe I got third place in the open heavyweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go and compete, you get your trophies, everything is good. And then what?
Then just the fire's lit, you just want to keep doing it. And so I just kept doing it. I think I did another show the following year. And I got down to a much lighter weight. I think it was
what year was that?
Pounds. 2005.
2005. So you You continue to compete. You do a few shows. You win a number of places, especially first places. Parallel with that, there's a transition in which you also do powerlifting.
Yeah.
How did you get involved? It's not always common that a powerlifter does bodybuilding or bodybuilding does powerlifting, and you've done really well in both. When would you do the crossover?
I think it was after the MuscleMania win. Just
So we're fast forward to 2012.
2012, yeah. I think it was 2013 I did my first powerlifting meet.
Okay. And what inspired you to do that?
I think at the time it was like, the social media started showing all these people doing deadlifts, squats, bench press, and I'm like, I feel like I'm as strong as those guys. So I wanted to see how I did, just in competitive level, and it's very different from just doing it in the gym, because you have your commands, you have judges watching you, you got to squat below parallel, the whole 9 yards, and squatting wasn't really my biggest point of strength at the time.
Okay.
I think I was just always felt very uncoordinated with them. So I did a lot of leg presses and lunges and stuff, but squat's something that came on later. So my first meet, I remember I just did push-pull.
Okay.
And that was the bench press and the deadlift. And I think at the time I deadlifted, it was like 540 pounds.
540. That's a pretty impressive deadlift by any account.
Thank you. And I think
you take first place there?
Yeah, I took first place on that one.
That was heavyweights.
Yeah. At the time I was 210, I think. And then I did bench press at 362 or something, 363.
Impressive numbers.
Thank you.
So then now you're a dual athlete in powerlifting and bodybuilding. How did that challenge you, nutrition, training-wise? Because it's two different things. A lot of people think powerlifters don't have to look any particular way, and bodybuilders don't have to have any particular level of strength. So how did you manage to coexist in both disciplines?
I didn't find it too hard, to be honest. I think at the time it was in my 30s, and recovery is kind of just amazing at that point. So I just really started focusing on making my primaries the big compound list: bench press, squats, deadlifts, and I would just put them on different days, and then I would finish up everything else with bodybuilding specific exercises.
Gotcha. So let's take a step back to this puppy right here, MuscleMania Bodybuilding Pro. Tell me about that experience, because I don't know a lot of people who are pros in more than one organization. You happen to be a professional in both MuscleMania and INBA, and now you're pursuing to become a professional in the IFBB.
Yeah.
So tell me about this moment. How was it? Where did it take place? How many times you have to compete? And most importantly, to educate people, how is the blood test doping criteria to guarantee that these athletes are not, are 100% natural?
Well, so it's a funny story that you just talked about that. So I remember getting handed this trophy at second place.
Okay.
Then it was, 4 weeks after the show, I get an email from the president saying, congratulations.
The first place guy.
You're first place. You're now a MuscleMania Pro because first place failed the drug test. Yeah.
That happens very often in Olympic competition. Not
so
much in bodybuilding competition.
Yeah. But. So that was an interesting thing. And then basically I was just a pro in the MuscleMania for a couple of years, and I was interested in the INBA, and I just asked if I could transfer my pro card over there, and they said yes. So,
so they validated your pro card,
mm-hmm.
and now you are. How many times you competed as a pro in the natural shows, and how did you do?
Wow, there was a lot. I think there was over 10 shows at least.
And how many times you placed first?
3 times.
3 times. So then I noticed that there was a shift on natural bodybuilding to you're still natural, and now you do NPC. Tell me about the NPC.
Yeah, the NPC. I don't know. It's a great federation. I kind of feel like you are pushed a little more.
Okay.
Not saying that in the natural federations, there aren't great.
Yeah, but naturally, when you go from an organization that looks into what kind of chemistry and bans certain products to now an organization that, for better or for worse, is like, you know what? Whatever it takes for you to get
Yeah.
The shape you want to get. This is the criteria. You just try to meet it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you wrap your head around the fact that you are a natural athlete competing against people who are not?
I kind of look at it this way: if you're an aspiring boxer and you had the chance to box Mike Tyson, you would do it because it makes you better. And it's the same with competing against guys like that I have the utmost respect for. It just makes you want to work harder, makes you want to be smarter, makes you want to just get up there and do the best you can.
Speaking of that, as we shoot this interview, Liam Townsend just became a IFBB pro natural.
Mm-hmm.
The IFBB has opened up the door to natural pros. Are you trying to become a pro through the natural ranks of the IFBB, or just anywhere you have a chance?
Well, it's funny because I kind of tossed with that idea since our last interview, and I always thought to myself too, maybe masters would be the way to go.
Okay.
Because I'm aging, but I'm kind of that weird genetics that I feel like I age very slow.
Like the Benjamin Button.
Yeah, and it could be my Hispanic genes because I feel like if anything, every year I just get a little bit more mature looking.
Okay.
So I thought to myself, if I had the chance to even just become a pro in the Masters, I would be very happy with it.
And when do you think you're going to be pursuing that?
Next year, I'd like to get back on the show game for sure, and there's several I had in mind to give it a try.
Okay. When? Summer?
Starting in the spring, do a warm-up show is what I call it, and just kind of get my body into a metabolic, slide. That way, when it comes to the time that I want to really get to where I need to be, I'm going to be in peak condition.
Excellent. So all these things come together. You're doing all this, but there's a parallel life that you have, which is the life of being a personal trainer. You mentioned that you started working here at Champions Gym, and eventually had the opportunity to open your own facility in town, and for some reason things didn't go well and you have to return. Can you navigate through us as we are inching to the end of this interview of that business professional aspect of you?
Sure. Yeah, I honestly I never really wanted to work here. And the reason why I didn't, because this was my sanctuary.
Okay.
This was my place of coming to be at peace and just do my thing. So I helped somebody open up a business far enough away to where I felt like it was in conflict with here.
Okay.
And that was in Dewey, which is about 15 miles down the road, and it's kind of its own little city.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just put together the whole thing. I put together the equipment layout. I ordered the equipment. I did pretty much everything. The name, the motto.
And what was the name of it?
Victory Fitness.
Victory Fitness.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it didn't work out because it was right around the time that the crash happened.
Right, 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you opened that gym. How long did it operate for?
About 2.5, 3 years.
2.5, 3 years, and then business closes, and then you return back to your home.
Yeah.
And how long have you been here at Champions? And let people know like what they should expect from Champions Gym and you as a trainer, should they want to come and check it out.
Okay. I've been here since I think about 2009 now. So a long time. I've been training here, and the thing you can expect from Champs is just it's a family environment. People here, they're good people. We might tease, we might give you crap, but it's just all in good fun. And as a trainer, I take my job very seriously. I want to see people succeed. I want to see them thrive. I want to see them with smiles on their face because they just lost inches, or they just gained weight on the bar, or they did something. That fulfills me as a trainer.
And obviously you're academically prepared. You want to just go for kinesiology. You have any certifications, anything like that?
Yeah, I had a certification like way back in the day. I haven't renewed it in forever, but it was through ISSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was when I first walked into this place, he gave me the vibes of the place that I started. It's called Adolfo, Ignacio Adolfo in the Dominican Republic, where I'm from, and then the old school, the message that you get right when you enter the front door is like, we're here to work. There are no TVs here.
Right.
You have dumbbells up to what, 170? I see them.
Yep, 170.
170 pounds. There's weights that you could have 100 people here lifting weights, and you're not going to run out of bars or plates and whatnot. But it also has a very welcoming feeling to that, such as that it's almost a part gym, part museum, part home. So
Yeah.
it's just you can't help it. This is the kind of gym in which like you go to the regular gym, I guess, to express my opinion about it, and you want to get your workout and get out of there. This is the gym that you want to spend the whole day
Yeah.
doing your thing and talking to your friends and pushing each other. So I'm taking some footage. Hopefully, you guys can see what I'm talking about. The old squat racks and machines that are unique, the designs that Clint made, and the machines that he designed, and all that great stuff. So, uh, what a great place, and I want to say a dying, uh, type of place because we have to evolve.
Yeah.
Technology is important to apply into the development of the human body, but man, what a great place! And I exhort everybody watching this interview, if they're in Prescott, just to say hello, come in and stop by Champions Gym and say hello to Josh.
Yeah.
So Josh, we're closing this interview. You won so many uh, trophies, so many accolades in powerlifting. I mentioned in our interview, your squat was your best squat was what?
562.5 officially.
You talked about your deadlift was 672.
Yep, 672.
Unofficially, what's your best deadlifts?
Unofficially, it was 710.
710.
Yeah.
And those are incredible numbers. So, in total, both bodybuilding and powerlifting, how many shows have you done?
Oh, wow. Whew. I mean, we're definitely in the 40s there.
All right. So, alone since 2002 that you competed.
About 2004, yeah.
2004. So, in 20 years, you competed about 40 times. So that's about two shows a year, two events a year. That's an incredible career. And I want to thank you for sharing with us. We're closing this interview. I've always asked my guys and the people who take the opportunity to share their story in Arizona Fitness Biography to close with something that provides gratitude to anyone that you have, that you feel for, inspiration to those watching, and most importantly, tell us what's in the future for Josh.
Okay. First of all, I'd just like to thank my mom and dad. You guys are awesome. You've been there for my whole life, and love you guys to death. And my sister, you're amazing too. I love you to death. And Clint, if you hear me, you were such an inspiration in my life, and Nancy, you still are, and I love you to death. I would like to close with I'm very happy that I'm getting married here in less than 4 weeks.
What's the bride's name?
Her name is Gina.
Gina
Marlena Gallerani. She's very, very Italian. But she is absolutely the love of my life and my best friend.
All right.
So, yeah.
So what's in the future for Josh as it pertains to pursuing more new frontiers in bodybuilding and fitness?
Well, be on the lookout because I'm going to be hitting the stage again next year. Just not sure when yet, but it'll be local in Phoenix. And my hope is to actually do a California show at some point because it's been since 2013 that I've done a California show.
Very nice. Josh, on behalf of everybody that follows Arizona Fitness Biography, your friends, your family, and the fitness community, both bodybuilding, powerlifting, and everything in between, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Bring it in. Yeah. And to all of you watching at home, please subscribe, like, and follow. I have to say that because we got to get people involved to get to know the stories. And share, if you will. And thank you so much for being part of this episode of Arizona Fitness Biography. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Thanks man.